Hi, welcome to the Bag Makers Society podcast. I am just going to double check that I have everything set up correctly and that we are live. Yeah, so I'm just checking that everything is set up okay and we're live and good to go. As you can hear, I'm still a little bit sick. I've got a little bit of a sore throat and a little bit of a cold. So I'm probably going to let Sarah, our guest, do all of the talking this evening. So today's guest, is Sarah, who, if you're in our Facebook group, you probably will recognise. Her page is called I'd Rather Be Sewing Bags, and if you follow her, you will see all of her absolutely wonderful creations. She does have a little of a penchant for the weird and wonderful, which I'm sure we'll get into. But without further ado, I'm going to bring her on. So, hello, Sarah. Oh, there's a little bit of a to-do there as I brought you on there, as if by magic. So, I'm just looking at the comments because it's saying that it's not supporting the comments. So, I'm just going to go over onto the stream and just make sure that we can actually get comments, because I'm not sure why.
I'll just be chatting rubbish while you're talking about that and just keep gibbering away as I normally do in the group.
Okay, so I can see comment in the group, sorry, on the page, but I can't see them on our stream. So give me 2 seconds. This is technology for you. And this is what happens also when you try to do things when you're poorly. So normally I can see the comments on the platform that we're using, but unfortunately I can't see them and I'm unsure of how to be able to pull them through. So what I'm going to have to do is, this is not going to work as well as what it normally does, because normally I'm able to pull the comments up on the screen. This is a bummer. But I'm going to be able to bring them up on my phone, because I'll put my phone on mute. Because if I bring them up on my computer, we're going to have me commenting and talking in the background. So if you give me 2 seconds, I'm going to pull them up on my phone, and then I'll just read them out as we're going. But I did actually, when I set this one up, I did actually set this one up slightly differently. So I know what I've done. So I can go in and make sure that I don't set any future ones up the same way.
I like this.
But I know what I've done. So let me just try and find us. There we go. Right. So Andy's on saying hello, and obviously it means that the sound is okay for everybody. Linda's saying evening. Donna's saying evening. Tracy's saying evening, everyone. Mo's saying hello. Hazel's saying hello. She's setting an alarm and everything, because I think Hazel thought it was going to be yesterday, didn't she? She's also said that she's eaten 2 Bakewell tarts, as you do while you're waiting. So Daisy's saying this is going to be great. If it wasn't for technology, Daisy. Mo's saying she loves Bakewell tarts. Tracy's saying hello to Sarah. Sue's saying hello. Melanie's saying hello. We've got Elaine with us. We've got Edith with us. We've got Eileen with us. And we've got Hello Bag Creations with us. Whoever Hello Bag, I probably do know who Hello Bag Creations is through the Facebook group, but
I know Hello Bag Creations. I know Hollow Bag Creations. I've made their bat bag and it's awesome. Love that. I'm about to do another one, which is going to take a slight hybridization to a dragon bag in the 20 million bags that are running around my head.
Oh, I'm an absolute nightmare for seeing all of the bags and wanting to make all the bags and never having enough time to make all of the bags. Yeah. So yeah,
that's exactly where I am. So I'm the same. I guarantee every day when I'm looking on there, there's something. Oh, I'll make that. Oh, I'll make that. And in my head, I've matched fabrics. I've got hardware. Everything's done. And then time comes. But my biggest problem is once I've finished making whatever I'm making, I've normally got 2 or 3 on at the same time. I suddenly go blank. And I think I've put about it in the group before where I have that procrastination moment where I'm like, okay, what am I going to make now? And it's almost like a tumbleweed running through my head that I can't to make yet. And it's crazy. It's really difficult.
Yeah. So she'll have to let us know what her first name is. I will then forget and have to get her to remind us, but just so I'm not having to say hello bag.
I think it's Nikki.
Nikki, right. Okay.
But I might be wrong.
So now that we're over the technical difficulties, which I will be able to solve for the next ones, do you want to just introduce yourself a little bit, Sarah, and tell us how you got into bag making?
Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Sarah and I am a bit addicted to making bags, I'm not going to lie. I started a little bit differently. So I've been watching the podcast with interest and there's so many people who got into it through lockdown, through COVID. But I actually came in at the end of COVID. So I was classed as a key worker. I work in food production for the day job. So we worked all the way through the lockdown. So to begin with, it was a bit stressful because we were trying to keep everyone safe and stick to all the guidelines and keep things running. So I didn't have time to do anything. And I've always been a little bit crafty. I've always done bits of sewing, but never really had the time. My daughter was younger. There was no time to be had for anything. And then towards, I'd say, sort of 2001, halfway through, I started to have chance to breathe a little. And we were all doing the lockdown okie dokie. We're in, we're out, we're in, we're out. So I needed to find something to keep me a little bit more amused once the pressure was off. And a friend sent me a dressmaker's pattern. And I made my daughter a jumpsuit and enjoyed the process, enjoyed the sewing. Like I said, I'd done sewing before, but not made completely from scratch. But yeah, people. So it's fine making my daughter things, but I don't want to be measuring people up and putting through, and then making my daughter's great, but she grows out of it and I'm really tight, so I want something to last a lifetime. So it was either make her clothes that are rolled up 9 times up her arms and sort of pinned up with a belt, or go somewhere else. And she actually said to me, Mum, can you make me a pencil case? So I looked on YouTube and found a boxy pencil case and made that, and that's okay. And I was in a beginner's sewing group, and someone had done the Debbie Shaw tote bag with pockets. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, I think I can do that. So made all out of fat quarters and made it. And actually was like, put a zip in, put a letterbox pocket in, and thinking, this is quite good. And then, Deb, you entered the scene with a little comment on the sewers group saying, if anyone likes bags, I've set up this group. So I sort of joined.
Me.
Absolutely blaming you. Every time my house gets overrun with fabric and hardware, your name's mentioned, and just saying someone's got to take the blame. So yeah, I came on and I saw people like Hazel and yourself and these gorgeous bags that I'm sort of like, yeah, that no, and was dying to have a go. So I went along to a local Abercan and got some vinyl, and first off I thought, well, okay, I'll try it in my machine. Wasn't sure how it would work. I'd got a Janome at the time, a domestic, and I made a boxy pencil case that turned out quite well, and I was like, oh, that vinyl copes and that. And then if anybody's seen my makes and seen me, I have a saying, go big or go home. And that's actually a code. That means, oh bugger, what have I done here? I've bitten off more than I can chew, because I did ask for advice and I did say I'd like to try a bigger bag. Has anyone got any packing recommendations? And loads of people came on with like tote bags, like the Pelican tote bag stock and things like that. So I had a look on their website at Bagstock, and saw the pelican tape, which was fine, but like I say, I'm a bit of a bite more off than I can ever chew. So I decided to make the Trailblazer by Bag Stock for my first ever bag. Yeah. You know where I'm going with this. 50 pieces later, including interfacing, stabilizers, foam, Peltex, which I ordered off the internet and you can hardly ever get it and I don't really like using. Every piece of hardware imaginable, 3 straps, about 9 zips, Lord knows how many pockets, but I actually made it. And apart from the final top stitch, I was really proud of it. I was really like, wow, this is so then I came to my senses and I made the Sunshine Crossbody, which after the thinking, I was a bit of a gibbering wreck. But yeah, I looked at all the patterns. I made the Sunshine Crossbody, which is much easier. And I thought, okay, bags don't have to take 9 years and a nervous breakdown to make. They're all easy ones. And I went from there. And ever since then, I've every bag pattern. I won't say I buy every bag pattern, but I do pretty well at keeping pattern makers going. And I'm also, I suffer from terrible imposter syndrome. So I'm always in your group going, look, I made a bag. What do you think? And showing
I love seeing your creations, because you do like the sort of more unusual sort of fabrics. And
yeah, I'm very much queen of the dark. I'm a little gothic gremlin. And I do love.
There's always something more unusual.
Say again.
There's always something more unusual to your creations.
Yeah, I like to. That's exactly what I like. I like the unusual. I want something that I can't buy in the shops that you can more nowadays. But I like things that sort of tickle my fancy and sort of like, ooh, yeah, what can I do with that? And I get so excited. I'm like a kid at Christmas when something comes up and there's a fabric that I like or hardware that I like, and it's I love that side of it.
Tracy's just asking where can we see your makes, but you have a page, don't you?
I do have a page.
I'd rather be making bags.
Yeah, I'd rather be sewing bags.
Rather be sewing bags, yes, sorry.
Yeah, so I put everything on there.
I'm going to go back to the cold every time, excuse for everything. I'm sure it's linked in the description. If it's not, I'll go back in and link in the description at the end. So by the end of the podcast or the chat, there will be a description. There will be a link in the description. But if you go onto Facebook, I'd rather be sewing bags, and you will come up.
And in fairness, if you put my name into the UK Bag Makers Society as well, like I say, I must bore you guys to death, because I am literally, I think everything I make near enough goes on there at some stage or other. So
there's nothing boring about your makes at all, and there's nothing boring about sharing them. I mean, that was the whole reason for starting the group in the first place, was it was somewhere to share makes.
Yeah, and that's the best thing, because there's so much inspiration of doing things, and for me, I do tend to go with the darker and gothic. I do occasionally. Some people will ask me, friends, and that'll ask me for a bee bag or something a bit different. But I also can vibe on everybody else's make. So there are certain makers in the group who I know always make a more classic bag, or a more alternative bag, or a more fun bag. And I just love that people, you can see their identity through the bags, and I love that. Not quite sure what that says about my identity through my bags, but hey,
I think my camera's actually stopped working for some reason. I have just stopped it and restarted it, but for some reason I'm frozen. I could be doing anything, but for some reason I'm frozen looking down at my computer.
Yeah, but it's a good freeze, Deb, because there's nothing worse than when you see people and they're frozen like.
Yeah, I could be doing that. Let's hope your camera doesn't freeze when you're doing that. Let me just stop my camera again. And no, it's I'm full of technical gremlins today for some reason. Let's just plod on, and hope it catches up with me, because I was just looking down at my phone to read the comments. Edith said she's made at least 5 bags, 2 of which are doggy walking bags, 2 purses, and her dog Sally now has a matching coat to one of Sarah's bags. Everyone bestow. Oh, I think Edith must have bought your bags.
I know Edith is amazing. Edith has lots of my things and gets really excited. I love making things for Edith because she's as bat as I am. She's as crazy as I am.
Ah, well, I say, birds on a feather and all that. Donna says she loves the unusual, quirky, gothic, scientific, occult, and uses them as much as possible in her bags. Daisy says your bags are never boring. Hazel says she can spot one of your bags a mile away, which is a good thing. Maureen says she can hear you, so it's all good. Yeah, which obviously me. I'll just stay in that pose. To be fair, it means I can kind of blow my nose. And you can't see me. It's so good. Actually, I might just do this all the time. Melanie says just keep chatting. That's fine. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I mean, I might as well have not bothered putting makeup on, and there's a lot of makeup on tonight. Tracy says, where do you get your unusual fabric?
So I'm a lot of places. I do shop in different places, but I am a huge fangirl of Enchanted Fabrics.
Yeah.
I do strike sew for them. So, just to get that out there, I do strike sew for them. But I strike sew for them because I was a fangirl long before I did any of that. And I just love what they offer. And as well as loving what they offer, I also love that Kath and Sarah will look for things that are, if you say, oh, I'm really into this or I'm really into that, they'll try the best to sort of meet what people want, which is important. So I'm a bit of a fangirl.
I'm just rejiggling USB. No, I'm still frozen. Me and technology at the moment, my goodness, it's just not my friend lately. But yeah, Enchanted Fabrics do get quite a lot of sort of different, unusual fabrics. I'm trying to think of the other one that I've seen quite a lot. Is it Blue Moth? Is that right?
Blue Moth Fabrics. I've had stuff off them before. They are really good.
Yeah.
And I can't think. There's another one that has quite gothic stuff that I saw. Bags of Difference. They are quite good as well. I have quite a bit off them.
Cool. I'll find links and link, because anything that we kind of chat about and talk about in the chat, I then will go in and post links in the chat either after. I'm not going to lie, it's probably going to be tomorrow by the time I get to it. By the time I unfreeze myself, I mean, I'll still probably be sitting in this exact same position this time tomorrow. But yeah, I will go in and post links to anything that we do chat about, as long as I can find them. Hazel saying Frumble Fabrics as well get quite a lot of unusual fabrics in as well, so they might be worth checking out.
Oh yeah, that's not one. What's that? Fumble Fabrics.
Frumble, Frumble.
Okay.
And Donna's in. She'll check all of those out. And she gets quite a few of hers from Quirky Cottons as well.
Yes, I've had from Quirky Cottons, I think. And there's another one that I get cottons from that I can't think of what they're called. And I got some lovely Alexander Henrys from them. I've got quite a few Alexander Henrys from them, and I can't for the life of me think what they're called, but it will come to me.
Oh, I'm wondering if I'm freezing because my Wi-Fi's acting up. I think because I've got a little Wi-Fi signal. So if Grumpy's still on, maybe if he kicks the kids off the internet, I might unfreeze. We shall see. That's the joy of living in a household with, children and other people all using Wi-Fi and internet. It can be challenging, shall we say.
Yes.
Daisy saying that she always finds you so helpful and supportive as well, which I definitely think
that's my way of paying it back, if I'm honest with the group, because I 95% 5% of what I know from asking in the group, from having suggestions. I shouldn't say this is sacrilege, but I am actually one of the few people who doesn't really watch many YouTube tutorials and that. I find that for me, I watch them for things like this, and I watch them sometimes for tidbits and stuff, but I find for making a pattern, I'm much better with a paper pattern. My brain, it's almost like I get a little bit, I mean, I'm sure you've noticed I haven't got my ducks in a row. I've got a bag of squirrels that are running around all the time, and I go off the tangent left, right and centre. So in terms of making a pattern, I sort of need that focus on the written word and the pictures there. So if it's watching a YouTube video, I can almost, it's almost like a little bit of overload. I struggle, and I'm pausing and rewinding, then I go to the wrong spot and I've gone too far, and then I'm effing and jeffing and I'm getting frustrated. Everything's getting thrown in the air and I'm walking off in a huff, which is not good. So yeah, I don't tend to watch that many YouTube tutorials on things. So everything I'm learning is from the group. So it's just a little bit of paying it forward. I do, and I'm sure other people in the group can find this. I've got terrible imposter syndrome. So I do sometimes think when people ask for things and I offer advice, it's just my way of doing it. I'm self-taught. I'm not, I don't know huge amounts about anything, but I always try and be, except for when I go a bit Yoda speak, which again is like, stitch the zipper, you will, backwards, you will. I read them back sometimes and think, well, I knew what I meant, so surely everyone else did. But yeah, there's times when I will try and explain what I mean by it, and send pictures or do whatever I can. But I've found so many cheerleaders in our group that I just want to pay it forward and cheerlead back.
And we all learn so differently as well. Like, I am a very visual learner, so I learn a lot by visuals, lots of pictures. I struggle with the written word, so I struggle with patterns that are only written. So if there isn't any sort of pictures or very, very few pictures in a pattern, I will struggle with that. I'll get there eventually, but it'll be a pattern that takes me much longer to sew than if there's lots and lots of pictures in it, or if there's a video tutorial. But we all learn so differently, don't we? And that's the beauty of having a big collective of people, where you can either sort of explain how to do it, or you can point somebody in the direction of an amazing tutorial that's out there, or the resource is just phenomenal, isn't it?
We are so lucky nowadays to have so many resources. I mean, like I say, I'm all about the written pattern, but we're so lucky to have so many resources, and so lucky, a big thank you to designers out there who either make videos themselves or get other people to make, collaborate with people to make videos and offer the written pattern and offer pictures and such, and take the time to do it. I am like, all hail these people, because I'd lose interest halfway through that process. I'd sort of be like,
it's so hard to accommodate, isn't it? So everybody's different learning.
Absolutely.
Ways,
people do it so well. There's very few pattern designers. I can think of maybe two that I would say, I certainly won't name. I can say they just don't do it for me. I struggle with their patterns. I tend to, unless there's something amazing, I'll give them a little bit of a wide berth. But all the others, I really love, and I've started doing a little bit of tester sewing for people, which is quite exciting. I love that, because I who'd have thunk I'd got a low boredom threshold and pump about like a box of frogs. My biggest nightmare is people, if they ask me to make a bag and then it's a friend who I won't see for a while, and then so I won't put pictures of it up because it'd be rude. It's their bag. You want them to see it first. By the time they've done it and it's like, oh, you can put pictures up now, I'm like, bored, I'm over that. I'm on to the third one after that now. And, that's old news. I'm not into, which sounds awful, but that's just, again, the way I'm a little bit hectic, a little bit crazy. And that's the way I work. And I'm the same with patterns. There are some patterns that I go back to time and time again that I always call them my comfort patterns. They are the ones that I really like making. But with the vast majority of patterns, it gets fucking expensive, because I'll make one and it'll be okay. I'll make a second and hopefully I'll iron out the glitches. And then I'm almost a little bit, I'm over that now. I want to do the next thing. So testing for me is great, because you get something new every time. It's really good. And the people who I'm working with at the moment, I love what they're doing. I've not got huge amount of experience with everyone, but I do stuff with backstitch and baste and that, and I just love. And I'm just starting with Oso Gecko and that, and I love what these people do. You know, it's sort of it's right for me. It's not without its challenges for me, because sometimes I have to stop and actually read the pattern to make sure it's stacked up. And I think once you've done a bit of bag making, once you've got a bit of experience, it's really easy to go, oh yeah, it's just this, and oh yeah, it's, you know, and you sort of skip forward. So I do have to stop, slow down, which again, as you can see, I'm not naturally a calm.
I think with testing as well, Laws, isn't it? It's like testing. You're not just testing the pattern, you're testing yourself as well, because you're testing your processes, because you're testing that you're not just jumping ahead in the pattern, and you're not just assuming that
there are quite a few techniques that I've learned. There's one particularly in binding where I just thought it's so obvious to do it that way, but I've never seen it in a pattern I've done, and it was written there. And everything I do now, I bind that, unless obviously I'm testing, I'm working with someone else. But I just have taken that on as part of my process, and was really chuffed to fall upon it. And like I say, I've done quite a lot of bags now, so it's great that there are still things that I can learn and.
Yeah. So is there any pattern designers out there that if they release a pattern, you're on it straight away?
Yeah, lavender and twine.
Yeah, that's mine too. Straight away.
I doubt I would ever meet Erica, because obviously she's in Canada. But if I ever did, I would be really disappointed if she didn't come in on a flaming chariot with the Valkyrie playing in the background. With that lady she can design a pattern. So I get super excited. Backstitch and baste, I am really loving what they are doing. They've got quite a few out now, and again, there's techniques and pockets and stuff. And again, I always feel I'm not bigging them up because I've done work with them. I won't really work with someone unless I feel I can get behind what they're offering. That's another one where I get super excited to see the bits, and I find she's very beginner friendly, which is great, I think, in how she writes the patterns. But again, there's always a little, I don't know whether the Delana, there's a pocket on the front that I've certainly never seen done that way. I'm sure there's someone who has, but I just, when I did it and when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I really like that as a feature. So plus it'll carry a sink, that bag will. She's always a seller for me. I'm always a big bag gal. So
yeah, I'm the same as you. I do love lavender and twine. I just think how she makes things is it's just genius. It's just,
and it's exciting in the process, because there are things where you're putting it together and you're thinking, nah, that can't be right. The Sumerian and the Harith are the ones that really spring to mind, where the first time you make them, there are bits of them where you're like, nah, that's what the heck am I making here? What's going to happen? And when it comes together, you're like, genius, utter genius. So yeah, that's it. I fangirl over Erica quite a lot.
I'm back. I just quickly muted. I was trying to play about with the USB cables, but do it sort of discreetly, so I wasn't making too much noise in the background.
I've got a big gob, Jeb. No one even knows.
So just sort of like muted myself sort of slightly there, and I just unplugged. I was trying to I've got so many cables plugged in. It's like the Starship Enterprise, my computer. It's a laptop, but it would never move anywhere. And I was you couldn't see us because I was frozen, but I was trying to work out which cable was coming down off my camera. I think it's that one. I was like, right, I'll mute and I'll unplug it and I'll plug back in. So I'm back. So for anybody who kind of joined us slightly mid there, and I was sort of looked down, frozen like this for a little while, it was just because I had a few technical difficulties, and but
it was statuesque. You were almost doing the thinker there.
But like I say, at least it
was, it was great.
At least I was not.
Yeah, like I say, that would be what I'd freeze on.
Well,
so.
I mean, with the way my luck's been this last few weeks, I mean, I was due a little bit of good luck, wasn't I? So, because I mean, that would have been great. That being out live, forevermore on YouTube, with 10 minutes of me, like, that would have just been fantastic, wouldn't it? Right, so let's get back to a couple of the comments. So we've gone for, so Andy's kicked the kids off the internet. Well, he's paused all the devices on the thing. We don't get great internet here, so it does play havoc with us for a little bit. So Donna's saying, you've got to pay it forward. She helped out a lady who was doing her second craft fair at the weekend. Donna was doing a craft fair. I can't remember. She did tell me where it was. I can't remember where it was, but a stand just looked absolutely amazing. Linda says she's all self-taught. YouTube is her best friend, but she loves our group. It's so supportive. Maureen says she watches YouTube for hints and tips and tutorials. If the pattern maker posts a video of making their bag. Charlotte, which is put in brackets, daughter here, so I'm presuming that is your daughter. It's amazing how many times I leave for a few hours and an entire new bag has materialised. I mean, that's a feat in itself.
What's more amazing, Deb, what she hasn't put is how many times a bag materialises. She walks into the room, picks it up and goes, mine, and it just disappears again.
It dematerialises. Poof. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly mute. Donna says, I've done testing for croquet designers, but don't feel confident enough to look at testing bags. Donna, if you go back and watch Kathy's episode, we talked a load about testing. And I think watch that episode and it will give you loads of confidence to then go and test. Oh, frozen again. That's not so thingy. No, I'm still frozen. I'm just going to take my camera off for a bit. Right. So go back and watch Kathy's episode on bag testing, because it really did give you some confidence on testing for beginners, because bag designers aren't looking for just really experienced bag makers. Are looking for people who are experienced, who are beginners, who are intermediates. They are looking for people who are every bit of the spectrum. They are wanting people who can give feedback from all levels. So if you're new to bag making, then still put yourself forward as a pattern tester, because your input is still valuable. That's what I'm trying to get at, basically. Brian says, I love watching the same bags being made by different makers. It's great blending for tips and tricks of your own style. I completely agree with Brian there. I watch loads of different YouTubers and I'll pick up different tips from different people on exactly the same bag and then marry them all together and then just do my own thing anyway, usually. Daisy says to Charlotte, like a midwife, constantly birthing. Charlotte's laughing. Hazel says, she's extremely clever. I don't know how she does it. I also love Rosa. Yes, I completely agree with that. They're also really good friends as well.
Yeah, so they're together, aren't they? It's nice to see.
Tracy says, welcome back. Well, only for a bit. I think I might have to get a new camera because this camera does not like me sometimes. And Donna says she was at Haddenham Steam Rally. I hope I said that right. We were just literally, before we came on, having a conversation about how me and pronunciation do not always go well. Right, shall I try? No, I'm still off. Me and technology at the moment, it's just not going well.
I'm trying to get comments up on the Facebook thing, but it's just if Charlie's still there and she wants to come down and get it up on my phone, feel free.
Nikki says, I know that I look for beginners and experienced testers, but I think the beginners are the most valuable for me because sometimes my patterns are written weirdly. I think that's the thing. I think beginners can probably spot things that are missing in written instructions, because as experienced pattern makers, I wouldn't necessarily miss if a part of a written instruction was missing, because I wouldn't necessarily see it, because I would just automatically do it anyway.
And I think that's what I was saying about it can be hard for more experiences to stop and sort of like you say, read what's there without, well, I know how to do an envelope zip or pocket, or so, you know, that's where they're super useful.
Absolutely. I think you know, those beginner those beginner bag makers, or, you know, a bag maker who hasn't made a specific type of bag before, you know, they've not made a backpack, or they've not made they've not made a bag that is bound, or, you know, if they've not made that style of bag before, that could be so invaluable to a pattern designer. It really could. And obviously we've got it from the horse's mouth there from Nikki, who says exactly the same thing. So what's been the most challenging bag that you've ever worked on?
Ooh, there's a question. Actually, one of my favourites now, and again, you rode into the rescue when I very first did the necessarily clutch wallets. I had a major tantrum with that one, whereby the first one I did was just horrific. It wouldn't come together, and that was, I think that was the closest I've ever come to proper spitting my dummy and giving up. Other than that, I don't know, because I think the thing is, I think every bag offers its own challenges in making it. Everyone offers its own challenges in making it. So what I found hard then, I am stubborn as a mule. So if something doesn't work for me, I am going to make it and make it and make it and make it, and I'm going to get that right. Binding used to be awful, but I'm now not too bad at binding. I can pull that together, and like I say, the necessary clutch wallet, your video, actually that was one I went on YouTube. Your video got me through that, and now I can knock them out like Billy-O. So yeah, there's Aura Rosa. She loves a curve, and I think I did. Was it the Hortensia barrel bag? And that was quite challenging because I wasn't as good on curves then. But I am super duper blessed. I do have an industrial machine. I think that's really made things easier, because my bad habit, and again, I've whinged about it in the group to death, is I will interface everything to within an inch of its life. If that bag can't be used as a keystone and holding up an arch, or a foundation stone and holding up a house, it's not for me. So everything I was making was like super thick and super heavy, and I'm better. I'm not as bad. I can now be a little bit slouchy. It's fine. It won't fall apart. But yeah, I do tend to over interface, and Jack is my little savior, because everything I throw at him, he's just like, yeah, come on, give me more. What more? You know, another 3 layers, we'll do it. So that's made life a little bit easier on me. My journey with sewing machines has definitely been an interesting one.
So do you have a pattern that you go back to time and time again? That's maybe it's like your sojo reigniter, I always call them.
So probably the necessary clutch wallet now. Probably the Mav pack, the little Mav. I make them quite, because they, again, I can whip them up in a couple of hours, which is always satisfying to have them finished.
That's a Lynn's handmade, isn't it?
It is, yeah. She's another good designer. That's the problem with talking about designers, is that there are so many that if I want something, so I'm a bit of a weirdo, folks. Who knew it? I'd like to be challenged. Sometimes I want the comfort zone in something that's quick and I can see the results of, and sometimes I need to be stretched. That's probably one of my main benefits from sewing. So I've got what I like to call a chatty brain, in that it never shuts up, and it's always, I've got to do this at work, I've got to do this at home, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. So sewing has to have my full attention. It has to be something to completely keep me absorbed. So on them occasions, for me, a comfort sew isn't necessarily something simple. It's actually something that needs all my focus and my attention. And I really like someone who I didn't mention, who I do like, is Sewing Arts. I don't know whether have you seen Sewing Arts, Edmina?
I haven't,
So
no.
she is, I think she's German, but her patterns are available in English. And some of the translation, some of it you have to read it well because some of it, the translation is a little bit thingy. But she's another person who does really unusual shapes, really. Her patterns, I can follow them just on pictures and words without, and there are, I think, what's the lady's name? Bag Baddies, Love Lola. She does a lot of videos for them, so there are videos out there for them. But she does she does a pattern called the Anya, and I think I've made about 4 of them, and that's nice. It's got some really nice features, and she does interesting gussets and fold-in sides, and
cool. Be checking her out.
I do like sewing arts with a Z. It is. She's a lovely lady, and I do like patterns.
I should be checking her out. I'm with you though. NCW for me is always like, I sometimes call it a palette cleanser. So if I've had a pattern that's absolutely like kicked my behind, or if I've just had one of those, like I'll probably in the next week make an NCW, even though I don't need to make an NCW. Like I have no reason to make an NCW, but I'll probably make one because, as we all know, haven't been well. There she goes getting talking about her, she hasn't been well. But I'm kind of having that feeling at the moment, like I don't know what I'm doing. Like, you know, everything I'm kind of trying to do, technology is kicking my butt. Everything's just kind of difficult. And I know if I make an NCW, it'll turn out beautifully. It'll be funny, and it'll give me that feeling of like I can do this. I can sew. I can make something beautiful. I mean, obviously, I can't make something. I think, is it here? I've still got to make my my handle, but this is Vicky May. I've been making this in the club.
Yeah.
So
is that Studio 77?
Yeah, it's version 3 with the slip pocket.
Okay.
And binding, which didn't actually turn out too bad.
Nice.
So I've got about 3 of these on the go at the moment because I'm doing loads of different binding techniques, practicing for a masterclass. Because I have my favourite way, but obviously when you're showing other people, it's like you can't just show one way. Like this is the only way to do it. But yeah, like I've nearly sewn through my finger like 3 times in the last week. Like, you know, rookie mistakes that I'd never normally make. But this last few weeks have just, like I say, it literally had me on my backside. So I know I can cut out an NCW, I can interface an NCW, and I can make an NCW in about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives me that like that feeling of like, yes, I can do this.
I've got this.
I am good.
Yeah, I've got this.
Yes. And it just gives me that confidence again. So like that, as I say, I always call it my palette cleanser. My you know, if you've got a little bit of a funny taste in your mouth and you need something nice, the NCW for me.
Well, funnily enough,
or the sunshine crossbody.
Say again.
Or the sunshine crossbody.
Yeah, so that's another classic. So I went a bit mad. I am an old skinflint, which again you wouldn't know from the amount of fabric I've got. But I did actually drop on the templates for the. So I'm a mini NCW fan. It's always the mini that I make.
Yeah.
And I dropped on the templates off somebody. They bought them and were stopping making bags anymore, so they put them on one of the DStash sites. So I actually got the acrylic templates for them and I'd not then made one, and someone wanted, a friend who I work with had a bag and they wanted a purse to match, and I didn't even give them any. Normally I'm like, well, there's a couple of different purses, you know, blah 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 blah, and they were like, no, I just didn't give them the option. I'm just like, right, you're getting one of these. So I was so excited to try out and the templates are amazing. I don't know whether I paid full price, but yeah, it was really exciting.
I'm going back to the comments. Donna says she's pretty good at spotting grammar and issues and inconsistency in how things are described. It's a technical aspects that she feels weaker on. Nikki saying she might need to hunt down that video. The NCW kicks her butt every time. I think as well, because I've watched so many different videos on the NCW, that I've taken this from this video, and I've taken this from this video, and this from this video. So I now have sort of like a combination of all the little things that I've picked up from
zigzag in the middle. Cutting the zigzag in the middle for turn through was the deal breaker for me from what you taught off that, and that really made a huge difference because that's not how it is in the pattern, and that really changed. And I was like, I get it. I actually get it. So yeah.
In the no fold,
I've not done that yet. I'm still on the folding. Yeah, I'm still on the fold. In fact, I'm still on the folding. So that was the one that I made just this week. A little.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice.
Hang on, wrong way. Mirror Sarah. So yeah, that was to go with that they'd the Tribbiani Traveller, the small Tribbiani Traveller.
Oh, that's another one of my favourites. Sincerely Jen. I do like Sincerely Jen patterns too.
Yes, I've not made as much of hers only because so many patterns, so little time. Time is my enemy. Time absolutely is my enemy.
I'm the same. I'm very time poor. Tracy's saying, do you sew with leather?
Well, there's a funny story. So as much as I am go big or go home, I'm also an overthinker. Now I have probably about half a herd of cows in the house of leather where I've brought the leather, and I've done a couple of little bits and they've been okay.
Don't let Angus hear you. Are we going to call him Angus? Are we going to call him Angus? Don't let Angus hear you say that.
I have got lots of leather in the house, but if I let something get into my head, then that's when it holds me back. And unfortunately, the leather has sort of got into my head now. Overthinking, and I know I need to have more of a go. I'm trying to think what I did. I did a wallet, a self-drafted wallet, and I did a can-do pebble for somebody, which was part leather and part tartan. And actually they turned out fine, but again, overthinking. And skiving knife, I need to get a skiving knife because I think that's sort of what I need to get right, is getting the thickness. Getting the thickness right. So yeah,
definitely get yourself on YouTube for some leather videos.
Yes, yeah.
And just sit and watch them. Don't sit and watch them while you're trying to do it. Just sit and watch them. Have a cup of tea and a bicky, obviously, or a bit of cake. And just sit and watch them and just take in the information. And then tackle it. That's what I would. That's what I would suggest.
I've done bits of leather and I want to make the jump over to more leather, but at the moment I've got inside my own head, so I just need to wait for that, Sarah.
Yeah. We'll get rid of that, Sarah.
Yeah.
Melanie saying, where can she find you online? I'll post a link, if I haven't already done so, in the description to... Are you on Instagram as well? Or just on Facebook?
Yes, and I've got about 4 followers and it's the same name, but I've just me and technology, I've done nothing with growing it. And
my Instagram's awful, so don't worry about it. We'll feel I think it's our generation thing.
Yeah, it's absolutely
we're much more of a Facebook generation than an Instagram generation.
And you know, the worst thing is I've got a daughter who does different types of crafts, so she's all over doing her own thing, and I'm sat there going, "Oi, what about me?" Because a while ago she was like, "I'll do this for you." No, she's all bothered about her own.
Yeah. Well, I'll post links in the description to both your Facebook and Instagram. We'll get them Instagram followers up.
Yay!
Yay! If we can maybe get mine up at the same time, that would be great. I'm awful for posting on Instagram. I'm so bad.
It's like you say, you find your tribe, and my tribe is Facebook.
Yeah, mine is too. Yeah. Donna says she's the other way. She tries to get away with less interfacing, especially if there's also stabilizer. She resents paying for loads of bits that never get seen. Yeah, there is that too. Hazel says, yes, very, very interesting designs. I wonder if that was
sewing art.
Sewing art. Yeah. Donna says she wants to get way better at top stitching / applique, so she's desperate to make a Hugo. Yes. There's some amazing Hugos doing the rounds in some of the Facebook groups at the moment. Donna says she's yet to make, I think, an NCW. I think I might try a purse that I made in a previous month so long. That's in the club. that she's referring to.
Mm-hmm.
And then Daisy says the no-fold slots are really good. Yeah, life-changing because it so reduces the bulk. So that sits like much sort of flatter. Donna also says that she's like that with vinyl and cork. She won't touch leather with being a veggie for nearly 30 years. And she's also not great with any social media stuff. Yeah,
Again,
yeah, that's me with Instagram. And I think that's why my Instagram following isn't great, because I literally just cross post to Instagram. From whatever I post on Facebook goes to Instagram. So
I think I've set it up wrong, because I think my personal stuff goes to it rather than I'd rather. So again,
you'll have to get Charlotte onto that. Get Charlotte to change that.
Yeah, my little techie needs to do more.
Yeah, yeah. It's again, when you're time poor, when it's difficult to sort of have time to do it all, and it can be. I imagine it's really quite difficult to sort of have that balance to work full time and find time to sew bags, and then find time to post about them on social media.
It's super hard, yeah. It's
and you'd rather be sewing bags.
Exactly. And there was a friend, Julie, who's my old family friend, and really helps me with, and she's a big support and will push me out of my comfort zone. And for ages we were coming up trying to, because she's like, you need a page for your bags, because I didn't want all my family stuff to be mixed in with people. I didn't want all that to be mixed in, and we've got names going forward, so the Bag Witch and this, and she's like, yeah, but you don't want to be too gothic, you don't want just bags, you don't want just this. And it came to the point where we'd been messaging for weeks and weeks and weeks saying, you need to set a page, you need to come up with a name, and it's like, yeah. And I think I sent her a message saying, do you know what, I'd rather be sewing bags. And I think I spat my dummy and was like, that's what it's called. Just end of conversation. I'm done with this. I'd rather be sewing bags. So yeah,
I think that's a great name though, because it's kind of true.
It says what it does on the tin. Yeah.
And Nikki's saying the same. She says, I suck at social media too. I forget about posting anything. Yeah, it is. It's so difficult. Do
you know what I think? Another problem that I find is so I'm not a business. I'm a hobby sewer, but there are things that I'll occasionally sell, and the dream is to become a business, just because I love my day job. But yeah, I'm kidding with that, by the way, just in case anyone from work watching. But eventually I would like to go to what I love, is where my passion is, and I think I've lost my train of thought now thinking about work, going back to that with. So yeah, I want to find someone who can do that side of things, because I just want to be doing the creativity and the stuff, and you've got to put yourself out there. That's where I was going with this. It's self-promotion that I struggle with. So me saying I think my bags are great, that's why I love testing and strike sewing, because I'm quite happy to say this is an awesome product that comes from someone, and I'll say that forever and a day, because I'll only use it if I think it's great. But me saying actually my bags are really good is, yeah,
it's hard.
I think they are, but at the same time, I know you spoke before about, oh my god, I've skipped one stitch there, or oh my god, that lining is 1/4 of a mil bigger than what I would like it to be, and I can see that, and no one else can see that, but it's there. So I think self promotion is super duper hot. We're too British. It's British,
and like social media can be such like a difficult place as well, because as we all know, the internet can be a cesspool of people like you've just gone so it can be hard to kind of put yourself out there, because you can be frightened of inviting negativity, and on the whole you don't get negativity on the whole. But by putting yourself out there, you're kind of thinking to yourself, well, am I setting myself up for negativity?
Exactly, yeah.
And nobody wants it. Nobody wants anybody to say anything horrible to them, whether it's valid or not. So it can be a really difficult position to put yourself in. If somebody sees one of your bags and, they're not in the same type of things that you are.
Yeah.
you know, you don't want them to come and say that, because they shouldn't. They should just go past. But you can't. It can be really worrying, kind of place to be.
You absolutely second guess yourself, as I say, with the gothic stuff that I do. There was so I did a La Katrina, the Day of the Dead lady bag not so long ago, and I couldn't post it in a group because it was cultural appropriation. I felt a bit. For one, the reason I like the gothic stuff as much as anything is I do like the symbolism, and I like to look into it. And La Katrina was actually a symbolist of socialism in 1910, of the Mexican, the European. So this is not things that I just go, oh, look, it's a pretty lady, and there it is. So I try and invest in it. But then
interested in the history as well.
Say again.
You're interested in the history of it as well.
Exactly, and the symbolism and the idea of a strong woman and the idea of honouring the dead. It's very much cultural appreciation. It's not just, oh, look, a spooky image. I'm interested in religion. I'm interested in, like I say, iconography. I'm interested in crossovers and theories and that. So it's not just me, look at spooky Sarah. I always joke it is that, but it's not necessarily. But I did think, oh my days, is my using this image offensive to be? It was never intended, and like I say, it was very much intended as an appreciation of something. And I think, yeah, people can sort of make the assumption that you're doing something without knowing who you as a I don't want to sound really pretentious.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. You worry about stepping on people's toes.
Absolutely, and like I say, I don't want to, but and I don't mean this about me, but I mean this about all of us. Bag making for us is our creativity. It's almost the same as an artist or a painter. Mm-hmm. I love putting things together. I love putting different colours together and putting bright colours or something to bring it out, or dark colours to make it moody. And like I say, that I tend to pick images that are interesting to me and you know, that I like. So yeah, it's sort of you don't want to step on toes, and it's good to a place of love and appreciation. So
yeah, I know. I get where you're coming from. I've seen sort of discussions in some of the groups in places, and it's sort of like, you know, I can sometimes see both sides of the argument, but it's sort of like I can, you know, like you say, it's an art form, and it's an appreciation of different things, and it's bringing that into wearable art. It's something that's used every day, and
it's always tried to be done from a place of love. Like I say, I love the strong, very much about female empowerment, and I love the strong images of women through every religion, and you know, it's never done from a place to cause offence. It's always done with appreciation. And if you don't appreciate other cultures, then I'd have bags of fish and chips on every day, which would be a bit boring.
Yeah.
So,
but like, say if you don't learn about anything, then how do you grow as a person?
Exactly.
Or how do we grow as a culture?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a whole other topic in itself, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I'm technically from Scottish heritage. I was born in Scotland. I'm from Scottish heritage, and Highland cows, obsessed. I love everything, you know, brains blank. Like Harris Tweed, I love all the tartans, but I would never sort of say nobody else could use it.
Yeah, and as long as it's done, I think everybody knows.
I think it's beautiful. It should be used. It should be appreciated by everybody. It should be out there being enjoyed. The tweed makers and the you know, all of this wool that's being produced should be being produced, and it should be being sold all over the world and being appreciated by people all over the world. But yeah, like I say, that is another subject all in itself. Nikki's saying that she sucks at social media too. Oh, well, did that one. Donna's saying she's energy poor rather than time poor. Yeah, I'm both. I had a nap before here, hence why the hair's sticking out, because I didn't even brush it. She's also listening while cutting up duvet covers for more bunting. I love the recycling. Love it. That again is another whole topic in itself. Linda says she's with us on self-promotion. She sucks at it. She says she could do without social media. She prefers events, although with her health it's getting harder. appreciation rather than appropriation. That is completely right. I think as long as it's done with it in the right context, it is appreciation.
Absolutely.
Nikki says it's the times nowadays. Everybody wants to share their opinion regardless of the feelings of others. It's hard to share to people like that. Also, as an alternative designer, I love your bag, Sarah. The darker, the better. Maureen says, I find that the internet is narrowing the world instead of expanding it due to the comments being made. Yeah. My block list on here is getting bigger than my subscriber list. Like literally, when I went on and I was like, oh my God, I can't see the comments. I can't put the comments up on the screen. And I thought, oh, well, that's going to please one person, because I literally had somebody complain about me putting the comments up on the screen. But that person can't comment anymore.
Well, why does everyone feel they need to? So there are things that I see that I don't like, and unless it's absolutely deeply offensive, which takes the pause button, then I just go, okay, that's not for me. Scroll past.
Some things absolutely need to be called out and stood up to. Absolutely. Yeah. Some people.
With the best one in the world, Deb, you putting comments on your podcast is not one of those.
She posted saying, like, comments on the screen, no thanks. I was like, okay. But yeah, she can't comment anymore, so it's fine. She can still watch, so she's watching. Then yeah,
she's watching this.
Comments on, so it's fine. Yeah. It's fine today. Andy says, as I've said before, some people can be vile, hidden behind a keyboard. Their opinions are not valid, not important, and they would never say it to your face. Yeah. Andy gives me lectures, not lectures, motivational speeches all of the time when I'm having meltdowns of people being horrible to us. Tracy says, people love my gothic bags and Filene Whitby. Oh, Whitby is just, you'll love Whitby.
We've been there quite a few times, and
it's amazing
up there.
Yeah. Melanie says, I'm about to cry trying to promote an event on Instagram. Let's just make things instead. Oh, Melanie, yeah, I feel you. I absolutely feel you. Like I'm on social media so much because it's what I do. It's like I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I love it. Like, I absolutely love it. And I love it for the right reasons. I love that it brings people together. I love that it creates community. I love that it can bring people together who wouldn't normally be able to come together, like me and you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Today, here, now, and everybody else in these comments. I love that we have our group. And, that would never, ever be able to happen without social media and without the internet. So I think it can be, and I'll say it all the time, it can be an amazing place. But, oh, my God, it can also be, like, I'm sure he's probably going to come into the comments now, and, like, the amount of tears that I've shed over people being horrible and vile and just nasty, like, I'm fat, I've got horrible hair, my accent, I put comments up on the screen, like, like, why, like, I'm chunky, get over it, I like cake.
You can only see the top of me, but trust me, God did not give me with athleticism in mind when he built me, and that's absolutely fine. I think there's a part of me now that comes with, we're a very similar age, and I don't give two tuts what people.
I wish I was
spent so many years trying to be. Actually, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because I love today's society. I love that people are much more generally accepting of. When I was a teenager, I loved all my alternative stuff, and I was a bit of a weirdo, whereas nowadays it would be so much easier for me to find people who liked the same things.
Yeah.
And cosplay and that. So I'm also a major geek. I love Doctor Who, and I love anything sci-fi. And it just wasn't anything about for that. You were just sort of like, you watch that, do you? Whereas nowadays there are a whole and I love that about it. But at the same time, like you say, there's also people who are just so judgmental and trying to fit you into a box. Yeah. And I have got to an age where I can just go, do you know what? This is me. You either like me or you don't. And if you don't, there are words that I will use to tell you what I think of you, which I would never use on your podcast, Deb.
Yeah,
And
other words that I wouldn't use on my podcast either.
Yeah,
but
I can quite happily walk back. But it's taken me years to get to that point and to be comfortable with it, and to, like you say, and I'm lucky that I've not got much of a social media presence, so I've not had that. But God, if they want to come at me, then
I just think, like, as I say, it's just, especially as I say, you know, you go on and you share things that you make, and I think it's probably more for, you know, people who put themselves out there a bit more, you know, like I do. And I see it with other YouTubers, like people who I follow, and you just think to yourself, like, why are people saying like mean, horrible things?
it's also context. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think you should ever bring up about someone's appearance, because it's got naffle to do with anyone apart from the person and their life. But I also think, so if you were sat there, Deb, giving dieting advice, then there may be people who can comment on that aspect.
Yeah.
But you're talking about bags. So what does your accent, or I can't remember the other things he said, but any of the things that you've been come at,
My hair.
that you're talking about.
My hair was one was like, my hair was a mess. Yeah, it's wild.
I've got a bit of hot cut going on at the moment, so yeah, come at it.
Do you know what? This is menopause. It was straight as a die until I went through the menopause, and then it just went wild, a bit like me. But yeah, I mean, I totally get my accent might not be for everybody, but scroll past.
Yeah, find someone else to watch. There are lots of people out there.
Yeah, but I've seen it on quite a few channels, because there's loads of YouTubers who I follow who not necessarily sort of tutorial type channels, more sort of like chatty channels, like you look what I've been buying, and I'm like, oh, enablers. They're enablers, that's what they are. Yeah, and they get it too, like yeah, it's mad, absolutely mad.
I just think, find a hobby, make a bag. You'll get your stress out that way. Find a hobby other than insulting people, because if you're making bags, you've got no going back to what we were saying before, you've got no time for anything else, so it's all good. You haven't got time to insult people.
That's now why Andy's now my moderator on my YouTube channel. So but to be fair, I used to like reply back to people, but now I don't. I just hide them.
Yeah.
So I just don't. So but yeah, Melanie's saying that's because we have lives. Nikki's saying exactly. Donna's saying no need for personal attacks. And just what you were saying about giving dieting advice, only dieting advice I would give is eat more cake.
Amen to that.
Melanie's saying that's awful, going to build you a brick wall. Or honestly, Nikki's saying, I love your accents, both of you. You look great. Haters gonna hate. Yeah. I mean, I don't think a hugely strong accent. I know I've got quite an accent, but if you put me next to somebody who comes from the centre of where I live, that's really strong. I'd say mine's a lot softer. And I do try to speak sort of as clearly as I can. But I try. I do know when I get really sort of excited about something, I get quicker, and as we all do, and my accent can come out a lot more. And I try not to use like colloquialisms, slang words and stuff. Other than I will always say Ben for my daughter, but most people know what Ben means. But I wouldn't ever use, I don't tend to use them in real life anyway, to be fair. So Donna's saying, I was bullied from 4 to 19 and again in work years later, and I've now reached 50 and couldn't give two hoots about them. I need to get there. And I think that's probably why nasty comments do get to me, is because it does throw back to years ago when I was bullying and what have you. I think that Melanie says, I think that our personalities and our individualities come through in our bags and our garments. Yeah, definitely.
They do, and I love seeing that.
I was going to say, I think mine maybe don't, because I tend to be a very sort of plain on the outside and party on the inside. And yeah, I don't think I'm plain on the outside, not with my hair anyway. I thought my hair's actually getting a lot sort of more demure in colour. I did think about letting me grey grow out.
So
then it started to grow out, and I was like, no.
Well, mine's faded to heck. So mine's faded to heck, but mine's normally red, and it just looks a bit brown. It's red. You'll know, red is a nightmare colour to maintain because it just fades, and it's due to be done. But I did about 12 months ago. So I got the short bits. There's quite a few that come through grey there, and I love grey hair. So I thought, right, I'm gonna let my colour grow out, and I'll have this. And I didn't. I just had an awful sort of salt and pepper, really drab, really.
Oh, I'm going the wrong way. I'm pure white. I can't even figure out which way I'm going because I'm the opposite.
No, I keep doing that.
I know. I'm absolutely pure white, although my hair's just not long been done, so you probably can't see. But it's more darker at the back, so it's not quite even yet. But my mum,
I don't know that much, but mine's just the very bottom that's going white. But everywhere else, it was just a really dull salt and pepper, which is just not me.
Yeah, need to give it another couple of years.
Yeah.
But my mum has the most beautiful coloured hair. So hopefully I'm going to go the same colour. If you're on any of my social medias, I've shared pictures back in December of my wedding, and there's a picture of me and my mum. Go and have a look at that. I couldn't lose weight for my wedding. I've lost weight since. Go figure. But I can't wait until my hair's the same colour as my mum's. It's just the most beautiful silver.
Always think of your mum as Mama Me Made Make. I always think I don't know your mum's name, but when I hear her mentioned that, I always think of her as Mama Me Made Makes, which is just what comes to mind. With I know that we're politically aligned because we established that, and I have got a cutting master plan that I'm going to be besties with it. Get all your teenage secrets and blackmail you for bag hardware. So that's
I'll tell you all my teenage secrets. You don't need to worry.
That's no fun. There's got to be a bit of blackmail involved. I'm dark and gothic. There's got to be.
No, I'll tell you them all. So yeah, Maureen's saying just ignore most of the comments, get them blocked. I just hide them because then they can still watch the videos, so I still get the watch time and the ka-ching. So yeah. Donna says, I often joke when I'm talking to myself, I'm having a staff meeting. I much prefer working from home and get my social media fix from Facebook and events. Brian says, if I can understand your accent as a San Diego surfer-dude, no one should have a problem with it. That's great. Donna says, I've been told I have a very Norfolk accent. I can't stand hearing my own voice, so I avoid doing lives on social media. I've had to really get used to hearing myself. And sometimes when I was trying to get my watch hours up for YouTube, sometimes Andy would put my videos on and I'd walk in and I'd be like, that's me. And I'd be like, oh God, that's awful. I sound so bad.
I was joking one of my videos. I was joking with my daughter about this earlier today because I said that I tend to put yours, like I say, on a Saturday and Sunday, which is my sew time. So when them two are off doing their own thing, my husband and my daughter, that is, I'll pop you on to listen. And I keep joking and saying that this is the only one that because I've never done anything like this before. So sorry, guys, if I've been rambling like a mad woman, but I've never done anything like this before. So there's going to be like, you'll see me move out of my chair like grease lightning if it ever pops up. It's like skip. All the others are fine, but we'll just, this will just be consigned.
It's really hard to hear yourself. You do eventually sort of get used to it, but yeah.
I'm a gainer as well, so I'm never going to be able to watch it because I know I'm always pulling face, and I keep catching sight of myself. And stop pulling face and stop spinning. If anyone's feeling sick from me spinning, that's just.
Well, my face says what my mouth doesn't.
Yes.
Hazel says she's Norfolk too, and I hate it. I love the Norfolk accent. I love anything that sort of way. I absolutely love it. She says she's gone all grey now, spent a year and a half growing it out. I'm 48 and I often get people ask why I haven't coloured it. Donna says her hair's so dark brown, don't get shown, unfortunately. I've only got a few greys appearing, and like it isn't a streak. Literally like this grey and then this kind of now to something. It's really, really weird. Linda says she's dyed hers all platinum and she loves it. Eileen says she never sounds as we think we talk. No, I can hear myself because I've got my earphone in and I know I'm sounding like I sound on the video, but when I hear myself, I don't sound anything like I hear on the video. It's really weird.
Yeah,
it's so strange.
Yeah.
Andy says he never knows what to do with his hair. It's such a nightmare. You hoover it up, mate, after I shave it off. That's what you do. Well, when I shave it off, like when he gets his tennis ball, and I have to neaten it up because he's bald as good. Donna says very interesting. Maureen says she has a broad Doncaster South Yorkshire accent, which is horrible. Or my daughter lives in Leeds, which obviously not that far from Doncaster, and she has like a total mixed accent now, and it's so funny listening to her talk because she has a mix of Northeast, she has a mix of Yorkshire, a boyfriend's from Sheffield, she has a little bit of that. Our last housemate was from Liverpool, so she has a little bit of that. So it's so funny listening to her accent.
I had a friend years and years ago, and I'm going back like 20 plus years, and her daughter, so she was Scottish and she had a really Scottish accent, and I went round to a house for drinks one night, and the daughter, I think she was about 11, 12, and she had a mum's accent, really Scottish accent, so that's absolutely fine. And she answered the door to her friends and suddenly flipped to straight Stokey with no tray, and it was just the weirdest, and then come back in full Scottish, and it was just like, that's not normal.
Like Twilight Zone, absolute Twilight Zone.
Yeah, it was just what.
Neve can have 3 accents in one sentence. Literally, it is so funny. Yeah, we do take the mick a little bit, but I mean, you've got to take the mick out of your youngest child, don't you? But yeah, it's so funny, but like so endearing that obviously she's gone off to uni, and just we call it a uni accent because, like I say, it's a mix of Northeast Yorkshire, Leeds, a little bit of Carlisle because one of our housemates is from Carlisle, so odd word comes out a little bit Carlisle. So yeah, it's really funny.
Because we're right between sort of Liverpool, Birmingham, and Manchester, so people always think Stokey sound a bit Scouse. So the amount of times when I've had people saying, "What part of Liverpool are you from?" and I'm like, "No, Stokey, a up me duck." So Robbie Williams country.
Yeah. Nikki says she keeps her face off the video, so she doesn't mind her voice anymore. So she's obviously got used to hearing her voice.
Yeah, that's
Brian
that is Nikki.
Brian says he's with Andy, so he's obviously got a shaved head as well. I mean, obviously it saves him loads of time in the morning. That his hair has literally just all migrated to here.
We did it in lockdown. So when you couldn't get haircuts in lockdown, my husband bought some clippers and had me cutting his hair. At this time, I looked like a mushroom, and he was like, "Can you do my hair, Doc?" And moaning that it had been 5 weeks, and I'd gone like 5 months. So that was the first step in driving me up the wall. But then I accidentally, so I did it the first time, and I did quite a good job. And I did it the second time, and I did quite a good job. And I can hear him muttering, so I was like, "Oh, this is great." This is, you can keep doing my hair. So the third time, I took his one side up a little bit because I'm like, this is not becoming my regular job. I can do a rubbish. So yeah, there was a little bit of tactics in play there. But never mind.
Definitely. Yeah. So yeah, well, Andy did have hair when I met him. He just.
So it's all you.
Yeah, just now.
It's all you. You made him tear it out.
Yes. I mean, I say it to him all the time, like you literally like question your life choices every single day, don't you? Oh, Donna says her husband's the same. I take it she means about the hair migrating south. So he had a full head of hair and sort of like stubble.
Right.
And now he has no, like a little bit of stubble and full beard.
In fairness, I mean, all those ladies have to cope with everything migrating south. So the fact that his hair's doing it's absolutely gender equality.
He has to cope with everything of mine migrating south too. So bless his heart. Oh, he does put up with a lot. Oh, Donna says her husband had long hair when she met him, and now he's got nothing. Oh, well, he didn't have long hair when I met him. He had quite short hair.
Hair is the bane of my daughter's life, because I've got naturally curly hair. I straighten it to within an inch of its life and have done for years. And my husband's got naturally curly hair, and her hair it's an absolute nightmare. It dries, and every day I get, why did I have to have this hair? And from both of us, you're not getting anything else, kid. It's just suck it up.
Well, my hair was poker straight, like absolutely poker straight. I would literally blast it with a hairdryer and it would just dry dead straight. And then I started to go through the menopause. Sorry, Brian, I told you we wouldn't talk about unmentionables. I'm so sorry. You can mute me. You mute and I'll go like that when we're start talking about the menopause. So yeah, I started going through the menopause a couple of years ago. Got put on HRT and the curly hair happened, and it's just got curlier and curlier and curlier.
It really suits you. Like I say, I've straightened mine within an inch of its life, or for as short as it is, I still spend.
I'm talking about it now, Brian. You're safe. Sots.
Brian,
Andy has put up with it, but I'll warn you.
Yeah, I was going to say he must have seen my post, because I've been so good recently in hearing, not because I can go a little bit near the knuckle with. So yeah.
Brian says he can grow 3-inch eyebrow hair overnight, but he can't grow it on his head. Oh, mate, Andy's absolutely with you. He's got and I keep wanting to pluck them out, but he must see us looking at them and my hand moving, and he's like, "You're not doing it." What is it with men as they get older? The eyebrow hair grows, the ear hair grows.
Yeah, but us women, I don't know. Sorry, Brian, mute again. But when you were talking of the menopause and that, so I now class myself as having 3 hobbies. I have bag making, I have fabric buying, and I have chin hair plucking. Let's be honest, and I've never been interested in weaving.
This took a downturn.
Yeah, I've never been interested in weaving, but I have thought if I keep plucking, I'm sure I could get enough to start weaving my own fabric. But that's really...
Well, before we go, I'm going to tell you a really good story, and it isn't. I was 19 at the time. No, I wasn't. Yeah, I was 19 at the time, and I was pregnant with my second child. So I won't tell you how old he is now because you'll be able to do the math. So, and I was sitting on the sofa, and obviously I was with his dad, my ex-husband, and sitting on the sofa, and he just sort of reached over, and he sort of brushed, and he sort of went to go like that to brush her hair away. And he went, oh, and sort of looked away as if to sort of pretend that nothing had happened. And I went, what? And he went, nothing. And I went, what's the matter? And he was like, nothing. And I went, no, what's the matter? And he went, no, just I thought you had a loose hair, and I was just brushing away, but it's fine. And I was like, no, it was attached. It was this great big long. And obviously I was 19 at the time, so you can imagine it was the absolute end of the world. I cried for about 3 days, where now I'd just be like, oh, it's fine. But I was absolutely devastated. But yeah, I was, and how nobody had noticed it was about 6 inches long. It was absolutely horrific.
Yeah, they spring up overnight. But if we're going into this territory, my husband, poor duck, has got a daughter at puberty and a wife perimenopausal.
Oh.
So he's getting it all at the both ends. And when she's moaning about it, I'm saying, you wait till you get to this age, because it's no better. You have it all now, then you have the whole childbirth, then you have this bit. It's awful. But yeah, the joys of being female. And again, I'm descending. You can always count on me to bring the tone of the group down. That's what I'm here for.
And he's like that. Welcome to my world. He's like, we've got rid of one at uni. Hopefully there's another one going to uni next year, and now he's just got to think about ways to get rid of me. Hopefully it's not under the patio. Bragging like, mate, I'd understand if it was.
Yeah, we love you, Brian. We've got a male colleague who we work with, and he always asks. There's a few women in the office, and he has to go through conversations like this. So yeah, Brian, you've got my sympathies, mate.
Yeah, well, he did. He came and joined the group, so
yeah,
he knew what he was getting into.
Yeah, equality for all. He can moan about his male. We'll all be super sympathetic.
Oh yeah. So let's just quickly check the air. Andy's in charge of the tech, so you better be nice to him. Well, he's in charge of the tech that I'll let him be in charge of. Yeah, he's not really very technically minded. So yeah, we're safe. We're safe, but not really that safe because it's not been working for me very well tonight, has it? So, Nikki says my kids have got curly hair from me too, and I straighten mine every day. I almost feel bad about it. Yeah. I've quite embraced my curly hair. I think it's one of the good things to come out of it. The absolute raging psycho part of it, not so much. But Melanie says, great chat, but I need to go now. I know we've chatted for like nearly an hour and a half.
Oh, we always knew I was a gobby.
Well, to be fair, I mean, it probably wasn't helped by like my technical issues and trying to solve them and work them out as well. But I mean, my camera's liking us now,
which is good. You haven't had to do the thinker for at least half an hour. It's good. You need to have that as your profile picture. There must be a way you can get it off and just have that.
I'll be able to screenshot it and I'll save it into the group or something like that. Absolutely. But yeah, honestly, like technology at the moment for me has just been.
I am amazed the laptop has stood up to this. That means I can get at least another 6 months out of it before I need to buy a new one, and that means I've got more money for fabric. Always winning.
Totally, absolutely. I was like, when me and Andy first met, I had to sort of explain to him that fabric collecting and sewing were two completely different hobbies, and sometimes they crossed over, and sometimes never the two shall meet.
I'm getting a bit better now at using the good stuff.
Yeah.
I tend to I can't possibly suck the potential out of that. I am getting better at that. But my daughter, so again, my gothicness has the perfect answer for this. So if the zombie apocalypse ever happens, I have enough vinyl now to sew us a 7-layer suit. All 3 of us will never get bitten by zombies, and I will save our lives. This is why I need to keep my levels up, my stocks up, and I'm just thinking about saving my family. It's all for the good.
Yeah, I mean, that's resourcefulness at like level 10. Yeah, I mean, as I say, Andy was sort of like, why have you got so much fabric? And I'm like, well, that I can't sew that because I love it so much. And he's like, right, okay. But he is an enabler with the sewing machines. There's another one coming on Wednesday.
What you having?
I don't know. What, Andy, what am I having? Are you still there? Have you gone in the bath? You might go in the bath. He sometimes does. He gives up. He's like, oh, she's still talking. I'm going in the bath. Usually, I'm sorry, I'm still got this cold. It's driving us nuts. He usually puts Ethan in the bath at 8 to keep him off the internet. And then usually he gives up and like it's like, oh, she's doing me head in now. I'm going in the bath.
We've got my husband's a complete petrol head, so he thinks we have this deal. It doesn't quite work like this, but if I buy another sewing machine, he can get another car. Doesn't quite work like that, and he has got rid of a couple of cars lately, so I daren't bring anything else into the house. But I know that that's the only reason that he always goes, yeah, when I sit there and say I'm thinking about, and he's like, yeah, go on, why not just do it? That's what he's thinking is, new car.
Yeah, this is a vintagey sort of like I think it's like one that was like children's singer machine.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't think it's working or anything like that. So I think it's going to be sort of dismantled and sort of like resprayed, and it's going to be more sort of like for display.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, but yeah, he is an enabler where losing my earphones. My weakness is hardware and sewing machines. by all means, have a weakness for hardware here, so I'm not going to talk you out of that one. She blames me for the hardware. That's fine. Linda says, fab chat. Really enjoyed it, ladies. Here till the end. Die hard. Ross Brian. Donna says, mine told me I could have bought. I can't see because I've got a.
I've got a heart there as well.
Yeah, with what I've spent on sewing machines, I could have probably bought. I'm presuming that's a house because I probably could have bought a house.
It might be a car. I think it might be a car with what they spent on sewing machines.
Yeah,
he's a petrol head, so he buys them really cheap and then like sort of tarts them up and then sells them for like £10 more. No, he does. He's good at what he does, but yeah, he sort of. We neither of us spend huge amounts on our hobbies, basically because I'm too tight. But
see, I don't really drink. Very rarely drink.
Same.
I don't smoke.
Same.
So
I don't go out. I'm a little stitch gremlin. I am literally the family I'll be all interactive and do all the really nice family things, and then I'll sit down at my sewing machine and just they just don't come near me for a couple of hours. So
yeah, don't throw water on you.
Yeah,
don't feed after midnight.
The husband will go to the pub and I'm fine with that. And he'll like, do you want to come for an? No, people, no, leave me at my machine.
I'll just sit here and sew.
Yes.
Well, Andy started sewing now.
How's that going?
All right. He's too good. I don't like it. He's top stitching mint.
I'm very territorial. It'd be letting him near any of my stuff that I'd be like, no. I think that's why the daughter went into resin and stuff rather, because she's a keen little sewer, but she sort of lost interest a bit. And I think it was because I was always going, no, you can't have that. No, you can't have that. No.
Well, I sort of let him sort of like loose on some of the fabric that I was sort of, I'm not bothered about that. And then he got out my faff, I don't know how you pronounce it. But I really don't like that machine. I only keep it in case I ever do anything dressmaking. So he can kind of crack on with that machine and I'm all right.
She did a gorgeous skirt. I don't think I put that up with it not being bags, but I bought some mesh overlay with like a bat and skull print on. And I don't know what I really bought it for other than it was pretty and I liked it. And it came through and she was like, and sort of got really, can I have that, Mum? And in a moment of weakness, I was like, yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing with it. So crack on. And she got a charity shop skirt and then has like overlaid it over the top. So it's like really nice and gothic.
We should still share it. I know it's not Bag Makers, it's still sewing. You should.
Yeah, I will. I'll get some pictures of it. But she did a cracking little job on it and sort of did all that. But I still haven't. I'm like really proud and equally really aggrieved that she's taken my fabric that's like mine. So I do get a bit spiel with everything. I do get a little bit. I was just more really aggrieved that his top stitching on like the second time that he'd ever sat at a sewing machine was just absolutely spot on. See, I wouldn't be speaking to him for a month. I wouldn't be able to say that's the reason why, but I would be aggrieved enough that I would find every other reason not to speak to him for a month before I eventually admit it.
I think it's just because he spends far too much time with me.
Yeah, that's it. It's skills by osmosis. It's all from you, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm taking all the credit, even though I wasn't actually in the same county when he was doing it. I was at the Festival of Quilts. Me and Emma were walking around, and he's messaging us. I'm going, Emma, look at that. She's like, I'd be foaming. I'm like, I am. And then he had to FaceTime us. Well, not FaceTime us because we don't have iPhones, but like WhatsApp video call us on rethreading the machine. So me and Emma's going right through that one, then through that one. He's like, right, okay, try, see you later. And we were like,
yeah, but there was a little bit of you that was like, so you don't know everything. You can top stitch like a demon, but you still need to rethread.
You probably could have gone on YouTube but yeah.
Oh,
but yeah, they're all sitting in the corner over there at the minute. So yeah, but yeah. So Donna's saying she's had enough of people and from events to last her. Linda's saying, thankfully mine prefers building, and my heart's in the way again, in his shed outside away from my sewing room. Yeah, keep him out of your sewing room.
Well, see, that's the other thing we didn't touch on is that the living room is my sewing room. So we've got a little box room, and I was having fitted wardrobes fitted anyway because I love clothes as well. I'm a clothes feed, and I was going to put my machine up there, and I realised I would never see the family again. I would, like I say, I'm a bit of a stitch gremlin, so I would just literally come down about 3 hours for food and just not see them.
Yeah.
So I just ended up taking over the living room, which is like.
If Andy makes me something to eat, he's quite often just like brings it in here for us, and I'm like, no, I will come out and be through there with you. It's like I feel a bit guilty, but yeah, he quite often does just bring it in here because I'm quite lucky because this is what used to be our living room, and I've just kind of took it over. I was like one day, I was like, I've been thinking. That's what I say when I've been thinking, and Andy goes, right. What now? So what was our dining room, which never got used, was just kind of a dumping ground, and it's like a through room, so you kind of go through into the kitchen, and the stairs is in there, and what have you. That's now our living room, and this is now. But I can shut the doors, and I was going to say it can get left a mess, but it never gets left a mess. I'm going at the minute like this. It's so untidy. It's an absolute tip. It's not. It's just I want to rearrange it. So
see, that's where we're the polar opposites because it's a little bit. We've all got hobbies. We're all crafters, and the whole house is sort of. It's like a really poor man's repair shop in here because there's just different crafts everywhere. In fact, that's what I always say. I'm telling you all this stuff about my love of iconography and all that. For the real reason I like Gothic is at a young age I decided how can I get away without dusting and without knocking the cobwebs down and having a garden that looks like an abandoned graveyard. Gothic styling, so, and it fits the aesthetic, so it's all good.
That just solves it all. I just don't have any ornaments. I've got a couple of Highland cows, but that's about it.
We don't have that many ornaments. The problem is I'll buy it Halloween and then I'll leave it up all year round. So I think you can see there's a skeleton above my shoulder and there's a skull next to it. So every year I just get more Halloween. There's a little metal bat that literally hangs above my sewing machine and stays there. And when he come in, because it's like a metal garden ornament, and he was like, what have you bought that for? Because I liked it. What have you put it there for? Looks good. Really? Mm-hmm. Yes, and it's staying, and it has done, and it's there all year round. It's my little emotional support bat. So,
yeah, I just think if I don't have any ornaments, I don't have anything out, then nothing needs cleaning, nothing needs dusting.
It'd work if I didn't have the husband and daughter because they just leave everything everywhere, and it's just constantly picking up. But it's fine. Again, acceptance of yourself. I'm just a stitch gremlin.
I did notice last night when I was sitting watching the telly that my birthday cards are still up. It's like I really need to take them down. It's like 2 months.
It's fine. We need to celebrate birthdays longer. We need to find the joy in life. There's always a reason.
Like 2 months now, I think. Like, it's well over now, Deb. I know you've been poorly, but stop milking it and take your birthday cards down. So Eileen says her lounge is her sewing room, as it's the biggest room in the house. Well, I might try and take over the biggest room in the house yet, but that's probably my bedroom, which actually Andy, bless his heart, did suggest swapping the rooms over and making this our bedroom and moving the sewing. And I think it was mainly so that he could have a sewing machine in there as well. But it really wouldn't work for filming and doing this because we live in a street with really, really, really noisy children. So, and because we live on the end, we'll get the ball stotted off because our bedroom's downstairs.
Okay.
And we'll get the ball stotted off the wall constantly. So I was like, yeah, I don't think it would work for that.
Even if nobody else could hear it, it'd drive you absolutely up the wall.
They started off the car and that all the time. And I'm forever like, I've turned into one of them old women, like, will you stop me? And I go out and I'm like, I really don't want to like ask it not to play with the book, but will you like stop, put my windows out, please. So I kind of need to stop at this side of the house because it's a bit quieter. But bless his heart, he did suggest moving into that room because it is bigger, which it would have meant more sewing machines or more fabric. Which, I mean, who's going to say no to that?
Well, that's what happened with the box room. So the box room got the wardrobes in, and now it's actually the fabric store. So it's basically turned into a fabric warehouse. So it's still used for sewing, and the living room is the extra. So
it's kind of like your own kind of on-site shopping fabric shop. Just go in there and
I always go in there and find things I forgot I always find things I forgot I've got. And oh, look at that again. The door takes the mic.
So Donna says she can barely get into her sewing room. Everything is piled up behind her. Do need to sort it out, but her energy levels and health issues get in the way. I can totally get that.
Yeah.
I've really struggled these last few. I've literally done the bare minimum. I've kind of done my Tuesdays, done my club videos, and done my orders, and that's been it. Nothing else has got done. So I think that's why I'm kind of everything's a mess, because I haven't been sort of putting things away where they should be. I've just been kind of that's kind of a way.
Yeah.
It's not a way. So I think Grumpy will be getting. I should stop calling him Grumpy, because he's not grumpy. It's self-imposed.
I call mine "You must be ignored," and I love him to bits, and I don't ignore him very often. And he is. I'm the same as you. He's fab, but. Again, with age comes the right to take the mick out of your other half, and they take it back, so it's all good.
It's absolutely self-imposed nickname, though. He calls himself Grumpy.
Okay.
But it's just because he has a resting grump face. Literally, when you meet him, he looks miserable. He is one of them people where if you say, "Are you okay?" and he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine," and you're like, "Well, tell your face," because he looks he looks really, really miserable all of the time.
I can relate to that, because believe it or not, when I'm not talking about something that I'm passionate about, I can be a bit quiet. I'm always thought of as a snob because I can be a bit quiet and I can have, like you say, resting grump face. So yeah, I can relate to that, and people thinking, and it is that people, "Are you all right?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm fine." "No, but are you really all?" "Yes, I'm absolutely."
Yeah, that's Andy.
Well, I was all right, so you kept asking me if I was all right.
Yeah, I was really guilty of doing that one. I was like, "Are you all right? Have you upset you?" And he's like, "No, no." I'm like, "Okay," but no, it's just, and I think because I think it's just as well because he's got especially if you meet him in real life, he's got a really, really, really deep, quite a gruff voice.
Okay.
So you can, if you sort of if you sort of said anything, you're like, "Oh, bloody hell,"
Yeah.
It's quite authoritative. So you're like, "Oh, okay," ask you to jump, you're like, "How high?" But it's just how he is. So yeah, he said it's his own world stage name. Linda says, "Love it, Grumpy." Donna says, "After being married 25 years, I've got the right to call him names." I don't call Andy names at all. I know which side my bread is buttered on, because I would not be able to do half of what I do if it wasn't for him. He comes in from work and I'm like, "Will you help us with orders?" "I'm struggling. Will you help us do that?" Before I started this, "Will you help us tidy the sewing room because it's a mess?"
I must admit, I am lucky. I moan. I mean, I moan about him all the time, but I love him to bits. We've been together 20-something years now. 2003. So what's that? 22 years?
21.
21. Yeah, we're almost legal.
Well, I was just literally saying to Andy the other day, it's just gone 9 months since we got married. I was like, I can't believe it's been 9 months already.
Yeah, that's gone really fast.
We sound like big Bens, don't we? Obviously we met later in life. But yeah, we've been together 8 years, but we're coming up 8 years. But yeah, 9 months since we got married.
That's gone so quick.
Mm-hmm.
So quickly.
Like I say, he regrets his life choices. He regrets his life choices every single day since. What was I thinking? What was I getting into? Bless his heart.
Yeah, my daughter says that when we are moaning at each other and bickering, our daughter will say to both of us, well, you married him, or to dad, well, you married her. Yeah, so enough said.
Well, Hazel says, I'm all about mine, but being married 20 odd years and he's very supportive. Donna said she'd got less time for murder. And what would just wouldn't manage without them, would we?
No, we wouldn't.
I definitely wouldn't. And then people laugh at me because like I get on really well with my ex-husband. So then they're like, that's strange. And I'm like, no, like live in the same street.
Yeah, again, it's the way to make it work, isn't it? There's, life's too short to be just because they're an ex, it didn't work out in one way. That doesn't mean everything has to end. So
yeah,
it'll only be a good thing.
Like laugh because I sometimes come in and Andy and him are sitting having a cuppa and I'm like, all right, and they'll be like, that's just weird. And I'm like, oh, it's not. It's only weird because you think it's weird. But then bless his heart, he comes in and he's like, will you do us a favour? And he's like, I'm sure this ended with a divorce, Deb. I'm like a bad smell, you can't get rid of me. I rang him the other day to ask him to, I think me and Andy were going out for the day and it was for the dogs. Like to come up and like let them out. And Andy was like, he's going to stop answering the phone to you soon.
It's going to happen. It's good. And I love that Andy's the one saying that to you in defense of him almost.
It's all right, because when he stops answering the phone to me, I'll just ask you to ring him.
Yeah, so then he's on the phone and said, please don't stop answering the phone, please.
Yes, I've got to be fair, usually when I'm like having a meltdown over something, Jason's just like, Andy's like, it's your problem now, mate. Sorry, I was going to try and mute there, but it snuck up on us. Well, we've had a lovely old chat, haven't we?
We have. I think we've put everything right. I think we've scared poor Brian off, and
yeah,
with all the talk of spousal and female issues.
Well, I did give him the thumbs up when it was safe to come back after the menopause talk.
Yes,
and there was no talk of unmentionables this week.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I saw that last week. I was wondering, should I get into making myself bras? And then I thought it might be on a similar vein to when I did the army, the tank hood that I did recently. So similar sort of, construction required and depth of material. So, yeah, no.
You talk about interfacing everything with an instrument's life.
I would have somewhere to rest my double chins.
That would be made. That would feel heavy.
Keep them pointing north. Keep them up.
Bit Peltex.
Dolly's got nothing on me.
Andy's just going to be like that. Brian saying sorry had to actually work. He said he's not easily scared, believe me, mate. Oh, Brian, don't, because that would be a challenge. No, yeah. I'm only joking. I am only joking. Donna's saying it's been fabulous. Linda's saying it's been a hoot. Oh, do you know what it is? Sorry, I'm coughing again. I have literally been, because I finally got a doctor's appointment with my actual doctor. Got antibiotics today, because believe it or not, I have got a chest infection that I've had for weeks. So when I went to the doctors last week, and we're like, no, it's virus. And I was literally coughing and spluttering. I went to bed about 5 o'clock for about an hour. And I've been sneezing and spluttering, and I've had a right old pity party this afternoon. Like anybody who's getting orders in the post the next couple of days, I've tried not to cry on your order forms, I promise. I had a real pity party this afternoon. Just, when you just get so fed up of feeling crappy and what have you. And I was like, tonight's just going to be so hard. Like, especially because I was really sneezing quite badly earlier on. Thankfully, tablets have kicked in. And I was like, it's going to be so hard to kind of remain upbeat and not just be sort of like, right, Sarah, you crack on. I'll just kind of sit here and freeze. You all think it was tech. It wasn't. I just really couldn't be bothered. But no, it's been an absolute tonic. Like, I literally was thinking, how am I going to get away with making this podcast only half an hour so I can go back to bed?
And here we are, what?
Like 2 hours later, we've put the world to rights, we've chatted about everything, and it's been an absolute tonic.
It has, it's been. Thank you so much for having me on.
And we haven't scared Brian off. He says, challenge accepted.
That's what I like, a man who can.
And I haven't upset anybody by putting the by putting.
Yeah, not sworn. That's brownie points for me.
Yeah.
No, that's been great. Thank you so much for having me on. Like I say, first time doing anything like this, so it's been a blast.
We'll do it again in the future.
Absolutely.
Just because you've been on once doesn't mean that you can't be on again. We'll do it again in the future. I think it'd be nice to have people on more than once because, you know, people's journeys and like seeing how, you know, anything that they've progressed with, or, you know, if they've changed anything that they've done, or you might not be into the gothic and alternative. You might be into floral and Cath Kitson next time you come on.
Yeah, cottage. What is my daughter keeps telling me it's called? Cottage kitsch or something like that. Yeah,
cottage core.
I can't have a Laura Ashley dress with flowers in my hair.
Yeah, we'll get your Instagram following up. Yeah, well, I'll go on and pop in the description your sort of Instagram and Facebook and anything that I can remember that we've chatted about. And if I forget anything, if you pop it in the comments, and then I can go back in and update the description.
Absolutely. And if anyone's on the group and wants to ever ask anything, then feel free.
Yeah.
Can't promise you'll get a saying answer, but you'll always get an answer.
Well, I think we all know that pretty much from me as well, that it's not always straightforward. I sometimes go around the houses to get where I need to be.
Yoda speaking again, I will.
But it's been lovely. Thank you everybody who's joined us in the chat. Hazel says it's been awesome. Brian says thanks, it's been fun. Jill says gift of the gab. That's our Sarah.
I work with Jill. Jill has to suffer me all day at work. So yeah, I'll see you morning, kiddo.
So thank you for everybody who's been in the chat. So next week's chat, we'll have Sean from Kittenish Behaviour. I don't know if anybody follows Sean. If you don't, I suggest you go on to follow her. I've followed her for must be nigh on 8 or 9 years now. And actually, it's Sean's fault that we are all here, because it was Sean who got me into bag making. Sean isn't technically a bag maker as such. She's predominantly a garment maker, but does make bags. And it was her video for the NCW that started my love affair with the NCW. So technically, I wouldn't have a business. I wouldn't have a YouTube channel. I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Sean in the first place. But no, I do love Sean's channel. She does sew alongs, she does chatty videos and such like. So I'm really looking forward to having a chat with her. I'd probably schedule a fair amount of time if you're going to come and join us as well, because I can imagine that one's going to be quite a chatty one as well. So yeah, so come along, join us, same time, same place, Tuesday, 8 o'clock next week, and I will see you then. So thanks again to Sarah for giving up her Tuesday evening. Thanks again to everybody who's joined us in the chat, and I'll see you later. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Bye.